So, you're a philosopher?
Yes. 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 I think very deeply. I think very deeply. I think very deeply. I think very deeply.
In about 4 seconds, a teacher will begin to speak.
I think very deeply.
Let us begin.
What is up, good people? Welcome to the MadHouse. This is your host, Dave Johnson. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be coming to you every Sunday night at 10 o'clock. Now, I'm going to stop saying that the show is going to air at 10 o'clock on Sunday because this is YouTube. So what I'm going to say is that the show is going to be released every Sunday night at 10 o'clock unless you subscribe to our fan page, in which case you may get a preview. Maybe we'll release it early if you go to our fan page. I got a social media strategist. Okay, I had one when I first started the show, and he crawled all up in my ass after the first show, talking about, nigga, if you don't get that address right, how are folks supposed to find your show? So I'm gonna make sure I get that address right. It is facebook.com/WTT MadHouse. And I even got the lingo right. Like us on Facebook, and then follow us on Twitter, which is twitter.com/WTT MadHouse. Bam! Told you I'd get that shit right, nigga. My guy, Jake, I mentioned him in the last episode, hooked us up with Joe Rogan. Joe motherfucking Rogan. So I think you know who Joe Rogan is. But Joe Rogan, which I didn't know prior to starting this process, has a huge podcast called The Joe Rogan Experience. And my guy Jake hooked me up with Joe Rogan. He got my show. He got my first show, the show that we did last week on the legalization of marijuana. He got it hooked up with the Joe Rogan Experience, and we ended up out there on Shazam in Joe Rogan's Twitter feed. So God bless you, Dante. And Jake know what's up with that. That's my nigga. Thank you so much. And thank you so much to my guy over at Ross PR. You are the shit. God bless your ministry. All right, so tonight we are discussing pornography. We are discussing porn. Last week we were talking about marijuana and the legalization of marijuana. If you have not had the opportunity to listen to that podcast, I would strongly suggest that you go back and take a look at that, or take a listen to that podcast. Since Colorado and them folks in Washington are going to have the opportunity to enjoy life before the rest of us. But today we're discussing pornography. Both subjects are subjects that are dear to my heart for different reasons. But pornography, my personal history with that, my personal story with that actually starts as a young man. I had sex for the first time when I was 13. But I saw sex for the first time when I was 11. And let me explain. So, I get my deviant, nastiness righteously. It's in my DNA. It's in the very fabric of my being, because my father, God rest his soul, my old man passed on Christmas Day 1990. Christmas Day 1990, my old man passed. So I feel like after all this time, we can go ahead and tell some truths. Well, the truth is, my old man was a nasty motherfucker. Okay, and he passed on his nasty motherfuckedness to me. Okay, back in the 80s. Now you're going to have to stretch your mind all the way back. You're going to have to go all the way back in order to hang on to this story here. But back in the 80s, there was actually a time where the only way you could watch video was VCRs. And if you was a broke motherfucker, like our family was some broke motherfuckers, even though my father, he did decent, you got your VCR from Rent-A-Center. Okay, so the first VCR we had up in our house was from Rent-A-Center. And the first movie my father rented was a porno. So that's my lineage. That's where I came from. The very first thing that my father stuck in that VCR was a pornographic movie. Now, how does that have anything to do with what I'm talking about and my first opportunity watching porno? Well, let me explain. Me and my brother are separated by about a year and a half. So if I'm 11 years old, my brother was 13 years old. My father had us late in life. My father was in his 50s. My father had not explained, he had not broke down the birds and the bees and the story of human reproduction to either one of us. Okay? So my brother's 13 years old. 13 years old, has absolutely no idea what the fuck procreation is. So my father, one summer, calls me and my brother upstairs. He's like, and I'm gonna do this 2 for 1. I'm over 50. I'm only telling this story one last motherfucking time. My father had already had 2 children and then married my mama. My mama had 2 children, but they were already pretty much grown by the time my father got to him. So he had already told the story twice. He was only going to tell that motherfucking story one more time. So he called us both up at the same time, 13 and 11, right? So we sitting there in the bedroom, sitting there on the bed. And he says, okay, I need to talk to you all. I got to tell you all something. And it's about the story of life. Do you have any idea how you all got here? Well, you know, being a kid, you grow up with the story of the stork, and the stork, you know, carries the baby into, you know, the hospital, and the mother lays there and goes, oh, thank you, stork, for bringing me a baby. And I'm like, that's how the story is. And my father says, yeah, okay, well, that's not how it happens. And so we say, okay, well, what's going down? How does it really happen? And then my father turned on the motherfucking TV. Now, let me say this. Like I said, my father's been dead since 1990, so don't you motherfuckers call Child Protective Services. But when that TV came on, my father had put a tape into the Rent-A-Center VCR and put it on pause. So the tape wasn't playing. It wasn't playing. There wasn't any video playing. It was just on pause. And what me and my brother saw was an exposed vagina in all its glory, staring at us. And my father said, sons, this is a woman's vagina. This is her outer labia. This is her inner labia. The hole there in the center is the vaginal canal. And the man's penis goes inside the vaginal canal. And there's a motion of going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And it excites the man. And it is at the point that the man ejaculates inside the woman's vagina that the sperm goes through the vaginal canal and up to the woman's ovaries. The ovaries, for a woman, is where she holds her eggs. And those eggs are fertilized by the sperm of the man, and it is that fertilization of the eggs where life begins. And that's how babies are born. And he stood there, smoking his cigarette, holding his drink, feeling proud of himself. And I think I was almost 16, 17 years old when my brother relayed the story back to me that I even knew that that's what the fuck my father had said. Because from the moment that television came on, I didn't hear a word came out of his mouth. All I knew is the kids at school have used a word. They've described a word. They've talked about a word. And I didn't know what that word looked like. That word was pussy. And I had finally seen pussy. At that moment, my father became the greatest man in the world. My brother was traumatized. I ain't gonna bullshit. I ain't gonna bullshit. If he's listening, and I know he's listening to my podcast, he's listening to my podcast right now, he will admit my brother was traumatized. He thought it was one of the most fucked up things a father could ever do. And to his defense, it wasn't gonna get my father a gold star at the parenting conference. I gotta admit that. I gotta admit that. But my father introduced me to pussy and pornography. Pornography. Dude, to be a teenager, my father, because my father was slick than a motherfucker. He realized getting this VCR from Rent-A-Center allowed him to play this motherfucking porn. He could sit around and watch his motherfucking porn. But he also recognized if I got me a second VCR from Rent-A-Center and got me some motherfucking RCA cables, I could record my own porn. And see, I don't know. It depends. If you're under the age of 30, you can't appreciate this. But VHS tapes used to be able to set it to a setting called EP. EP would allow you to record up to 8 hours of video. 8 hours of video. That means one motherfucking tape could hold 8 hours of porn. Oh, nigga. A teenage boy in the 80s with the possession of 8 hours of pornography? Oh, nigga, I walked through my high school like the motherfucking Don. I was the godfather. Motherfuckers would come see me like, Godfather, can I please ask to borrow your porn tape, please? As a matter of fact, my nigga borrowed a motherfucking tape back, and dude, I'll tell you how personalized porn was for a teenager in the 80s. I let my nigga borrow a porn tape he never returned to me. I'm 44 years old. You talking about a tape he took from me when I was 15, 16 years old. I can tell you what the fuck was on the tape. It was new wave hookers. It was let me tell you about black chicks, and it was Black Taboo. And that motherfucker never returned my tape. I wanted to walk up on his ass like Michael Corleone and kiss his ass and be like, "You broke my heart, Fredo. You broke my heart." Pornography. And then I got married and I moved to Chicago. Left St. Louis, moved to Chicago. And it wasn't the marriage that changed pornography for me. It was the move. Because after high school, after I went through college, after I came out, started doing theater, got married, I didn't have that porn collection, but my guy did, and he was living in St. Louis. So once I moved to Chicago, I lost that connection to porn. Now you can't keep in mind, this is 1994, 1996. I got married in 94. This is 1996. If you wanted porn, it was dial-up. And the download time took all motherfucking day. Dude, you had forgot you was horny by the time the motherfucking image came to you back in 96. So the only way you was watching porn at that time was watching it on DVD. And I wasn't purchasing porn like that, but my guy was. My guy was in St. Louis, I was up here in Chicago. So you're talking about between 96 and the time I got divorced in 2005, I wasn't really watching porn. Now, when I was watching porn, when I was enjoying porn back in the day, oh, nigga, it was Ebony Eyes. It was Ray Victory. It was motherfucking Sahara. Oh, it was straight porn. It was nasty. It had a little story that you fast forwarded past to get to the good shit. Oh, that was porn. By the time I got divorced in 2005, and I was like, okay, well, I'm a single man and I don't have any prospects, so let me go find me some porn. That shit had changed. Now, there was always, anytime you're dealing with pornography or sexual gratification, visual sexual gratification, there's always a fetish element to that. You know, say, for example, if you're somebody who likes to eat jelly off a woman's toes, there's a video that's going to satisfy that. That's going to satisfy. Me personally, I don't do the jelly on the toes. I prefer jam. But there's some people who prefer to put jelly on the toes, and there's a video that'll satisfy that. I understand that. But there's also an element of porn called BDSM, which is bondage, domination, sadomasochism. Now, I've always known that it was there. Everybody knows it's there. You know, folks like to put on the leather, and if you saw Pulp Fiction, the gimp, that's that whole BDSM thing. But it had become. I'll just say it. Okay, this is where the show takes a dark turn, folks. I gotta say, because I can't show you what it is that I'm talking about, but I'm going to try to describe it for you, and this is where I had to call my guy and say to my guy, what's going on with porn, man? What's going on with porn? Because like I said, when I saw it, it was, it was decent, wholesome, clean nastiness. But now this stuff, throat gagging. I don't know. I don't know if you know what it is, but there's a fringe element of the porn that has become prevalent, so much so that it now has a category. That category is called humiliation porn. And right out there in the forefront of this humiliation is throat gagging. Let me explain to you what throat gagging is, and hold on to your horses. Okay, here we go. I'm explaining to you what throat gagging is. Throat gagging, for the most part, is humiliating the shit out of a woman by shoving your dick down her throat until she gags and throws up. Then, depending on how brutal the master wants to be, because it's BDSM, sadomasochism, so you have a master. Depending on how brutal he wants to be, he'll grab the back of her head and shove it into the vomit and make her eat it. Then, of course, they talk to him all kinds of ways. You bitch, you filthy bitch, you're just a whole slut bitch. And then they'll make them open their mouth and spit in their mouth. That wasn't the porn I grew up on. But for the most part, these people are doing this because they enjoy doing it. It was hard for me to wrap my mind around this. I mean, you got to say some of this shit. Like I said, it's humiliation and degradation in the truest sense of the word. I mean, this dude, they do shit like the dude would put his foot on the woman's head. He'd be doing it like doggy style. He'd reach around her back and put his foot on her head. Now, I gotta give him like 9 for style points. That ain't an easy thing to do, to get your leg around like that. But he got the foot on her head while he doing it. And it just, that wasn't, I was like, what the fuck happened to porn? What happened to good old fun porn? And therein lies the power of the internet. Therein lies the power of the internet and the porn industry. Because as long as people are having sex, they're always going to have fetishes and fantasies and crazed ideas as to how they want to see it. You just can't always get your woman to do it. But within porn, there's always a segment that can satisfy that fantasy. And don't be tricked. Don't be tricked. Porn has actually done a whole lot of positive stuff to move entertainment technology forward. For example, go back to the 70s. Go back to the 70s and think about Polaroid cameras. Now, do you think Polaroid cameras would have exploded without that sexual deviant element to it? I mean, think about it. Think about it. Back in the day, come on now, back in the 70s, When you took a picture, you had to take it to the photo mat, right? And the photo mat the Kodak photo mat always sat in the middle of an empty parking lot, like some fucking way station, right? Like some outpost somewhere. And you'd have to go there and turn over your film, and then they develop it, and you come back a little while later, and there's your pictures of the birthday party or the baby's first steps walking or all of that fun stuff. See, but if you took a picture of your dick, you couldn't take that to the dude at Kodak. So you had a Polaroid cameras, right? Polaroid camera solves that problem, all right? Let me give you another example. The internet. Think about the internet. Think about the power of the internet. I'm going to tell you how powerful porn is to the human nature and how it relates to the internet. Let me tell you real quick, because I'm not going to stay here too long, but let me tell you real quick. In February of 1993, the internet launched. It became real. It was out there for the world. By March of 1993, there was already an indecency lawsuit filed because motherfuckers were putting pornographic images out there. 1 month later. Think about Blu-ray. Do you remember HD DVD? Nah, you don't remember that shit, do you? You don't remember that shit, do you? You know why? Because when they made the switch, when they decided to upgrade DVD, okay, there was a battle between HD DVD and Blu-ray. And which direction should we go in? What should be the new format? Should it be Blu-ray? Should it be HD DVD? HD DVD or Blu-ray? Well, how do we settle this argument? Real simple. Let's find out what the porn industry prefers. You know why? Because outside of Disney, okay? Outside of Disney, and actually go ahead and include all of the movies that are available from Disney, okay? All the G-rated movies. Throw in all the PG-rated movies. For shits and giggles, throw in PG-13. Throw in R. And you're still not selling as many movies as what the porn industry does. So it was very important to find out what the porn industry's customers preferred. Evidently, they like Blu-ray. All right? So porn has done an amazing job in doing positive things, giving positive things to us. Another gift that the porn industry has given to us and given to the internet, e-commerce. E-commerce. Places like Amazon and eBay owe a great deal of gratitude to the porn industry. It's like I said earlier, it took forever to download an image. So we had to increase bandwidth and so that people can go ahead and get their pictures faster. As a matter of fact, if they won't get their pictures, let's give them audio. As a matter of fact, if we're going to give them audio, let's give them video. So we have to have this increased bandwidth in order to get these pornographic images to these people. And we got to find a way for them to pay for it. E-commerce. I want to say it was back in 2009, 2010 or something like that. There was a movie that came out called Middlemen. And that's exactly what that movie was about. It was about the porn industry needing a third-party service to verify ages and to collect money. And that created e-commerce. E-commerce. What about Netflix? You like Netflix? I love Netflix. I found Breaking Bad watching Netflix. Greatest show I've ever seen in my life. It's my generation's MASH. When it went off the air, I was crushed. I missed it. But I almost never even saw Breaking Bad because I missed it when it was on TV, but I was able to find it on Netflix. Do you think the platform for Netflix was created so you could watch Orange is the New Black? No, that shit was created so I could see that black ass. The porn industry created that platform. The porn industry. Online, downloadable, demand movies created by the porn industry. So we can thank them for that. And why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we thank them? You know what was the gift given to the porn industry by the internet? Anonymity. Anonymity. See, back in the 70s, if you wanted to go see your porn, if you wanted to see Debbie Does Dallas, if you wanted to see Behind the Green Door, if you wanted to see Deep Throat, you had to go to a porn house. You had to go to a porn theater, and you had to wear your trench coat and your hat. You had to pull your hat down and sit in them cum-soaked seats and pray your pastor didn't see you. We even though sometimes your pastor was probably 2 rows up. But the internet allows for you to explore every freaky fantasy that you have in the privacy of your own home. In the privacy of your own home. And that's a beautiful thing. You can, except for this, like I said, the throat don't need it. There's a movie called 2 Girls, 1 Cup, 2 Women, 1 Cup, 2 something in 1 cup. Dude, the shit is so fucked up, my brain don't even want to remember the title. It's trying its best to process it from my brain cells. I don't want to remember the shit. It's such nastiness. But for the most part, the internet has allowed us the opportunity to explore all manner of things. All manner of things. And you know what? Let me say this also while I'm here. Because most men watch porn. Women watch porn. Women watch porn. Don't think for 2 seconds women don't watch porn. As a matter of fact, the fastest growing sector in the porn industry right now are movies that are being made for women. Okay? Excuse me. They've brought back the storyline. They've brought back, they've added foreplay. They've added foreplay. So these movies are being geared towards women. So I'm not going to sit and say that there aren't women who don't watch pornography, who don't know who the fuck Mr. Marcus is. But for the most part, you get your men who say, man, my woman got a problem with me watching porn. Every motherfucking time she catch me watching porn, I got to hear her motherfucking mouth. And she act like it's just the dirtiest thing on the fucking planet, and that I'm evil, and that I need Jesus. Well, let me tell you something. Men, for the most part, I can't say I can get too mad at the women. And let me tell you why. Do you know who messed that privilege up for you? Do you know who messed up men's ability to watch porn in the eyes of their women? Do you know who fucked that up? Men. Men messed that up. You know why? Because y'all can't separate fact from fiction, truth from lies, reality from a performance. It's a performance. This woman is performing. But y'all watch that shit, and then you go upstairs to your woman and go, hey, baby, you used to be a gymnast in high school, right? That's your fault. That's your fault. You don't watch Batman and then go fight crime. You don't watch Lord of the Rings and expect to go on a quest. So why the fuck you think that your woman's supposed to duplicate what this performer is doing? Be fair. Y'all niggas ain't being fair. Now, as a side note to women, let me say this. Because my question has always been, is the issue pornography? Is the issue that the recordation, I'm going ahead and make a word up. I'm going to make a word up each episode just so my man can call me back and go, Dave, recordation is not a word. But is it the recordation of the sexual act? Is the nature of pornography itself, the whole arena of pornography? Is that what grates you? Is that what bothers you? Or is it that this man is being sexually aroused by another woman? Even if that bitch only exists on the screen. I'm just asking. How many niggas have been caught jacking off to porn? How many niggas been downstairs in their basement, outside of the view of everybody in the house, think everybody sleep? Everybody sleep. Everybody sleep. I can go ahead and pop one off. Bam, bam, bam. Cause they went and got that Vaseline with cocoa butter. Now let me take a side step here for a second. If you ain't up on the Vaseline with cocoa butter, goddamn. Okay, I'm back. So you downstairs with your Vaseline with cocoa butter, and your woman comes storming down the steps. You sitting there with your drawers round your ankles, dick in your hand, grease from the Vaseline, with the porn on the screen. And she's like, you motherfucker. You motherfucker, this is the equivalent of cheating. This is the equivalent of cheating. Don't you understand? It's like cheating in your mind. If you're thinking about it, you're cheating. And you're thinking to yourself, no. If I was cheating, this wouldn't be my hand doing it. Well, then why are you down here doing it? I was watching some porn, I got horny, I jacked off. What the fuck? But you're supposed to only be sexual with me. Well, shit, woman, you're on your period. I call myself being considerate. God damn. But the reason it bothers a woman is real simple. It's real simple. For men, we're visual creatures. We get turned on by the visual image. You see a woman walking down the street, she's got a nice ass, and somebody asks you, what color shirt was she wearing? You probably ain't gonna get it right. You're gonna go, white? No, shit. But I can tell you what the stitching on the back of them jeans said. I can tell you that. I can tell you, we're visual creatures. For women, sex starts in the mind. All that stuff takes off. It takes off between their ears before it affects what's between their legs. It starts up in their head, okay? And then it translates to what's going on down there, which is why a woman can look at pornography and go, oh, that's fucking disgusting, but they'll read the fuck up out of 60 Shades of Grey or 50 Shades of Grey or whichever series the motherfucker's on. But you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. That shit that's hot to a woman. You know why? Because they read the words and they put themselves in that situation. See, if you're watching porn, you can't get past the fact that it's that bitch being satisfied. But when they're reading it, they can put themselves in the situation. You see what I'm saying? They can put themselves in the situation. So for them, because sex begins in the mind, you visually watching something is still the equivalent of cheating because you're not thinking about them. Okay? You're not thinking about them. Can't be because you're looking at this bitch. Okay? But they can read 50 Shades of Grey. Don't consider it pornography. Even though if the sex is going on in their mind and they're reading these words and they're being turned on in their mind, they're cheating too. So, ultimately, you got the internet, okay? You got amateur porn now, amateur porn, fucking up the porn industry. Like I said, it's still a multi-billion-dollar industry, but it's losing money every year. Every year, losing money. Why? Because you got amateur porn. Where does amateur porn come from? People's cell phones. I'm going to let that last point sit on you women for a second. Where does amateur porn come from? People's cell phones. And raise your hand, everybody raise your hand, if in the last 15 years you have never recorded a sexual act or your dick or your woman's pussy or something in the last 15 years. Raise your hand, raise your hand, raise your hand. I see a sea of empty nothing. No one's raising their hand. You know why? Because everybody has recorded themselves or has recorded their woman or recorded their man in the last 15 years. Everybody has. Guess what? That's pornography. That's pornography. After the Victorian era, That's pornography. That's pornography. So now we've got these mobile devices. On-demand downloadable porn has reached a new high because you don't even have to be sitting at your computer anymore. You can take your porn with you. Keep your porn in your back pocket. Pull out your porn at work. You know how many motherfuckers used to get fired? Remember that shit in the 90s? Early 2000s, all them motherfuckers got fired for watching porn at the job, mainly because your dial-up service at home was slow than a motherfucker, but at the job, you know, they had decent bandwidth, so you watch that shit up at the job, and folks get fired left and right. But now, if you pass by a motherfucker at their cube and they got their chair turned so that you can't see what they're watching on their motherfucking phone, it's probably porn. It's probably porn. It's probably porn. So where does the technology go from here? Where does it go from here? You've got an industry, like I said, that has made billions of dollars for years, that is losing money because everybody has a phone and everybody's recording themselves fucking and everybody's posting it on the internet. So I don't need to pay to see it anymore. It's for free. It's for free. And you get to see millions of women. Think about that. There are guys, when I stopped watching porn in 96 and picked it up in 2005, there were guys who were fucking back in 96 that I could still find fucking in 2005. They were still in the business in 2005, but the women had completely changed. Why? Because for men who are the majority of watchers of porn, you gotta cycle those women through. You gotta cycle them through. That's another reason why that subtly bothers women as far as porn is concerned. Because if it's true that men tire easily of watching the same women in porn fucking, then women in their mind think, when is this nigga gonna get tired of fucking me? Okay? So they cycle women through. Well, now they've got amateur porn where now you have millions of women that you can choose from. Millions of new women that you can see all the time. So the porn industry is losing money. So where is porn going now? What's the new direction of porn? How are they going to save themselves? Once again, they're going to lean on technology. There's a product, and I want you to look it up. And the last time I talked about posting videos out on the fan page, I had a fan reach out to me, which I thought was the coolest shit in the world, and say, hey, I went to your fan page and you talked about videos during the marijuana episode that I couldn't find on your site. Well, just so you know, every week before I do an episode, I post what that episode is going to be about. If you look in the comment section, I always post the videos that I reference in my show. So in this case, I may have to go out and post a video on this particular product because this is going to change the face of porn. This is going to change the face of porn. Okay? The amateur division or the amateur sites ain't gonna be able to keep up with this shit. Trust me when I say this. Okay, here we go. How's it going to change? I tell you how it's going to change. There's a product called the Oculus Rift. The Oculus Rift. What is it? The Oculus Rift is a headgear that you wear that creates a virtual world that is virtually seamless from the real world. I'm going to try that again. The Oculus Rift is headgear. You put it on over your face, so it completely covers your eyesight, okay? You turn your head to the left, and everything pans to the left. You look up, everything pans up. You look down, it pans. It's a complete virtual world that you are immersed into. Virtual porn. Let me add another tidbit to that. Those crafty Japanese, they're real big into the future, by the way. If you ain't keeping up on it, the Japanese are so far ahead of us, it's ridiculous. Robotics, oh my God. But they've created tactile holograms. You ready? You catching me there? Tactile holograms. Holograms that you can touch. You know what a hologram is, right? The hologram, you look at the image and, oh man, that looks so real. And then you put your hand and your hand goes right through it like a ghost. And it's like, man, that's crazy. No, they've created tactile holograms. Holograms that you can touch. What it is based on ultrasound. They said it sends this ultrasound up, okay? It uses, I want to say it's the Connect. Connect is changing the fucking world, by the way. But it uses the Connect to sense exactly where your hand is in relation to the holographic image, and then it sends ultrasound up to the exact area where the image is, so you feel as if you're touching it. Can you imagine virtual porn that you could touch? Can you imagine virtual porn that could touch you? Now, they come out with the Oculus Rift, and they come out with pornographic software to go with it, such that once you put this on your face, you were immersed into a virtual world where you could interact with the woman on the other side, and that woman could interact with you, and not only interact, but you could feel her touching you. Do you know whose stock is going to go through the roof? Boxing headgear. Whoever manufactures boxing headgear, their stock is going to go through the roof. Because if you're wearing that Oculus Rift and you laying down and you sitting down here in the basement touching yourself, because this virtual woman is actually touching you, you better have on headgear. Because your woman see you with that shit on. She going upside your shit with a baseball bat. She going upside your shit with a baseball bat. So that's the future. That's the future of porn. Porn's going virtual. That's where porn's going. That's where porn's going. Porn's gonna get bigger. It's gonna get more high tech. They're already making $1 million porns. They're making $1 million budget porns. $1 million budget porns. It's getting bigger. It's getting faster. And it's everywhere. It's in our phones. It's in our tablets. It's in our lives. Porn is everywhere. Porn is everywhere. It's floating through the air right now as ones and zeros, bits of information floating in the air. Porn. From all the way back to the days of the Romans and their statues and their art and their writings, to the Victorian era, where all of that was deemed wrong, to zeros and ones floating in the air of naked titties. Porn, sexual imagery has always been around, will always be around, will continue to drive humanity. And for me, I say, for my ally is the porn. And a powerful ally it is. Life creates it, makes it grow. Its energy surrounds us and binds us. Horny beings are we, not this prudish matter. You must feel the porn around you. Here, between you, me, the tree, the rock, everywhere. Yes, sex is everywhere. I got mental issues. That's the show, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you all. Welcome to the MadHouse. We'll be returning next Sunday at 10 o'clock. The next episode, I went back and forth with my guy earlier today. We were talking about the next episode. I want to do something on World Star Hip Hop. because some of the images disturbed me, and he was like, nigga, that's a little ironic based on tonight's episode. So you can't exactly tell folks it's okay to, watch folks doing nasty shit, but then you got a problem with folks fighting. Fucking and fighting it's been with humanity as long as humanity has been around. But I want to deal with it some kind of way. I do want to tap into it because I think it's an interesting bit of psyche, particularly with this country, that, if you show a titty, then everybody's up in an uproar, but you can blow somebody's brains out on national TV and it's okay. So that's just an interesting little tidbit, but I'm gonna figure it out. Either it's gonna be about World Star Hip Hop, or it may be about raising these kids in this crazy ass age, because these kids have lost their motherfucking minds. I am convinced something they put in the Similac drove these kids crazy. They done lost their motherfucking minds. So I'm gonna hit one of them, one of the two. Maybe I'll just surprise you motherfuckers. Every Wednesday I'm gonna drop the trailer for what the next episode is about. So just look for it on Wednesday, and either you're gonna see some shit on World Star Hip Hop, or you're gonna see some shit on these crazy ass kids. I don't know. Maybe it'll depend on how crazy my kids start acting. Who knows? But thank you so much, and I'll see you all next Sunday. Peace.